Hello students, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I'm your English teacher. Today we are going to read another lessons from your English course book. Let's check it out, which lesson it is. Okay, here it is. Lesson number 15, Wilbur. Ponder. Write the names of the places where these animals lived. Can you recognize the pictures? Can you identify the animals in the picture? You have to write their names. Names of the places where these animals lived. Did you know pigs are among the smartest of all domesticated animals and are even smarter than dogs? What kind of pet would you like to have and why? Elwyn Brooks White, 1899-1985, was an American writer who was born in Mount Vernon, New York. He was a contributor to the New Yorker's magazine and wrote books for children including Stuart Little and The Trumpet of the Swan. I think most children are familiar with Stuart Little. The character is a mouse. Wilbur is a piglet who is about to be killed as he is too little. The story begins with an 8-year-old Fern who works out ways to save the runt. Her father gives the piglet to Fern to look after him. The extract is a part of the children's novel Charlotte's Web. So this story which we are going to read now, Wilbur, is an extract. It has been taken out from the children's novel Charlotte Webb's, written by Elwyn Brooks White. Now let's read the lesson. Fern loved Wilbur more than anything. She loved to stroke him, to feed him, to put him to bed. Every morning, as soon as she got up, she warmed his milk, tied his beef on, and held the bottle for him. Every afternoon, when the school bus stopped in front of her house, she jumped out and ran to the kitchen to fix another bottle for him. She fed him again at supper time and again just before going to bed. Mrs. Ravel gave him a feeding round noontime each day when Fern was away in school. Wilbur loved his milk, and he was never happier than when Fern was warming up a bottle for him. He would stand and gaze up at her with adoring eyes. For the first few days of his life, Wilbur was allowed to live in a box near the stove in the kitchen. Then when Mrs. Arable complained, he was moved to a bigger box in the wood shed. At 2 weeks of age, he was moved outdoor. It was apple blossom time and the days were getting warmer. Mr. Arable fixed a small yard specially for Wilbur under an apple tree and gave him a large wooden box full of straw with a doorway cut in it so he could walk in and out as he pleased. Runt meaning a small pig. Woodshed, a place where wood is stored. Why do you think Wilbur was particularly fond of Fern? See picture. Won't he be cold at night? Asked Fern. No, said her father. You watch and see what he does. Carrying a bottle of milk, Fern sat down under the apple tree inside the yard. Wilbur ran to her and she held the bottle for him while he sucked. When he had finished the last draught, he grunted and walked sleepily into the box. Fern peered through the door. Wilbur was poking the straw with his snout. In a short time he had dug a tunnel in the straw. Grunted, low sound produced by a pig. He crawled into the tunnel and disappeared from sight, completely covered with straw. Fern was enchanted. It relieved her mind to know that her baby would sleep covered up and would stay warmed. Every morning after breakfast, Wilbur walked out to the road with Fern and waited with her till the bus came. She would wave a goodbye to him, and he would stand and watch the bus until it vanished round a turn. One warm afternoon, Fern and Avery put on bathing suits and went down to the brook for a swim. Wilbur tagged along at Fern's heels. When she waded into the brook, Wilbur waded in with her. He found the water quite cold, too cold for his liking. So while the children swam and played and splashed water at each other, Wilbur amused himself in the mud. Along the edge of the brook, where it was warm and moist and delightfully sticky and oozy. Enchanted meaning charmed, splashed through, oozy, slippery. Every day was a happy day, and every night was peaceful. Wilbur was what farmers call a spring pig, which simply means that he was born in springtime. When he was 5 weeks old, Mr. Arable said he was now big enough to sell and would have to be sold. Fern broke down and wept, but her father was firm about it. Wilbur's appetite had increased. He had started to eat scraps of food in addition to milk. Mr. Arable was not willing to provide for him any longer. He had already sold Wilbur's 10 brothers and sisters. What happened when Wilbur was 5 weeks old? "Has got to go, Fern," he said. "You have had your fun raising a baby pig, but Wilbur is not a baby any longer, and he has got to be sold." "Call off the Jackermans," suggested Mrs. Arable to Fern. "Your Uncle Homer sometimes raises a pig. And if Wilbur goes there to live, you can walk down the road and visit him as often as you like." "How much money should I ask for him?" Fern wanted to know. "Well," said her father, "here's your rent. Tell your Uncle Homer you have got a pig you will sell for $6 and see what he says." It was soon arranged. Fern phoned and got her Aunt Edith, and her Aunt Edith hollered for Uncle Homer, and Uncle Homer came in from the barn and talked to Fern. When he heard that the price was only $6, he said he would buy the pig. Next day, Wilbur was taken from his home under the apple tree, and he went to live in a manure pile in the cellar of Jackerman's barn. "Runt, a small pig," hollered, shouted. Prepared. In the story, we learned about the way Fern takes care of Wilbur. Do you think in his new home, Wilbur would be looked after in the same manner? Discuss with the class. Write T for true and F for false. Wilbur was Fern's pet dog. F. False. Fern used to take Wilbur to school with her. False. Wilbur loved to drink milk. True. Wilbur was a sad pig. False. Fern's father wanted to sell Wilbur when he was 5 weeks old. True. I just did it for you. You can try the remaining exercises. Answer these questions with reference to the context. No, said her father. You watch and see what he does. Who is the speaker and who is he speaking to? Why is the speaker saying no? What does the speaker want the listeners to see? Is the listener happy with what she sees? How much money should I ask for him? Who is the speaker and who is talking to? Who is him? What is she planning to do with him? What is the response of the listener? Answer these questions. Who was Wilbur? When was Wilbur the happiest? Where did Wilbur stay for the first few days? Describe the yard made specially for Wilbur. Why was Wilbur called a spring pig? Why did Fern's father want to sell Wilbur? How did Fern feel about Wilbur being sold? What did Mrs. Arable suggest to Fern? Did Fern do as her mother suggested? What was the response she got from her uncle? What happened to Wilbur finally? How do you think Fern felt when Uncle Homer took Wilbur away? Perfect vocabulary, punctuation, word meanings. Rewrite these sentences adding capital letters, commas, full stops, and question marks wherever required. First one, I will do it for you. My sister is called Sunaina. She was born in May. My sister is called Sunaina. My M capital, Sunaina S capital, full stop. She was born in May. C S capital, May M capital, full stop. You can try the remaining. Circle the correct answer. When you fill a bucket to the brim, it's number A, overflowing. When your friends are not around, you are lonely. You can try the remaining. Grammar. Adverbs are words that add meaning to a verb, an adjective or another adverb. It tells when, where, or how something is done. For example, the children sang sweetly. How did the children sing? Sweetly. We will go to Mumbai tomorrow. When will we go to Mumbai? Tomorrow. I threw the ball there. Where did I throw the ball? There. The words like today, tomorrow, yesterday, soon, and late tell us when. Words like here, there, near, behind tell us where. Words like quickly, happily, gently, fast tell us how. Adverbs are mostly formed by adding ly to other words. Fair, fairly, quick, quickly, rare, rarely. Fill in the blanks by changing the words in bracket into adverbs. He spoke rudely to them. 2. I ran hurriedly to open the door. You can try the remaining. Fill in the blanks with suitable adverbs given below. Today, badly, always, nowhere, happily. The king and his wife lived happily ever after. The book was nowhere to be found. You can try the remaining. It will be fun. Performed writing. Write a short story based on the given outline and give it an appropriate title. Beloved dog, loved by all, got lost. Father found him after 2 days in a field, injured, took him to vet, brought him home, all hugged him, everyone happy. speaking. Look at this picture, describe the scene in your own words. By looking at the picture, try to say something in English. Some 5 or 6 sentences beyond. This story, Wilbur, is about a piglet named Wilbur. One fine day, a piglet named Wilbur was brought to the Arable household. Fern, the young girl of Mr. and Mrs. Arable, took keen interest in raising Wilbur. With each passing day, the laughter between the two grew more. Fern took delight in all work which she had to undertake for Wilbur, starting from warming up his morning milk to seeing him asleep. After 2 weeks of Wilbur's makeshift accommodation near the kitchen stove, Mrs. Arable complained that Wilbur must be moved into the house woodshed. As the days quickly went by, Wilbur now had become big enough to be sold as decided by Mr. Arable. Seeing Fern despondent on the idea of selling Wilbur on Mrs. Arable's behest, the name of Fern's uncle was suggested as the prospective buyer of Wilbur. With everything arranged, the man bought the rent, and soon his lodging was relocated to Jacquemin's Burn. Wilbur was a piglet. So Wilbur was the happiest when Fern was warming milk for him. Wilbur stayed in a box near the stove in the kitchen for the first few days. The yard was fixed under an apple tree with a large wooden box full of straw. Wilbur was called a spring pig because he was born in the springtime. Fern's father wanted to sell Wilbur as his appetite had increased. Fern's father said he was not willing to provide for him any longer. Fern was very upset when she got to know that Wilbur was being sold. Fern's mother suggested Fern to ask Uncle Homer if he would be willing to raise Wilbur. Yes, Fern did as her mother suggested. Uncle Homer agreed to buy the pig. Wilbur was taken to Jacquemin's barn. There, Wilbur lived. Finally, this story, Wilbur, talks about a piglet called Wilbur who is about to be killed as he is too little. The story begins with an 8-year-old Fern, a girl, who works out ways to save the rent. Her father gives the piglet to Fern to look after him, but after the piglet grows appetite, father could no longer afford to feed. So he decides to sell it. Fern was not happy to hear that the piglet Wilbur would be sold. This story is only a part of the children's novel Charlotte's Web, where you can find the whole story. and it is written by Elwyn Brooks White, an American writer who was born in Mount Vernon, New York. And his other famous books for children's are Stuart Little and The Trumpet of the Swan. There is also a movie on Stuart Little. You can watch it if you have time and permission from your parents. You can check out the story. Excuse me. The Trumpet of the Swan also. It is a very nice story.